Welcome to Gothmas Day 3 with our tea advent calendar. And again, I will show you the lovely art on this, which I will probably keep, even though I'm not much of doing Christmassy type decor. I love the artwork on this. Okay, yes. Again, we are on day 3, if I hadn't mentioned that already. And this one is Darjeeling Premium First Flush Black Tea. I had to read up on a tea site about this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it said first flush was like a first harvest of tea leaves. So they're relatively young, fresh, just barely ripe, or something. Please let me know. I don't want to stumble through it and sound like a total idiot. I've already accomplished that just in what I've said since I opened my mouth. Okay, we've got my M and Sprout. I believe this is M and Sprout. Chibi, Gomez, and Morticia, and I've got my Vampire Freaks witchy t-shirt with my celestial leggings, gold and black. I had thought about doing the black and white dragons, but dragons and witches, that's, I suppose, but in my mind that doesn't quite match. I prefer to wear the dragon with other things. Anyway, enough about clothing and mugs. Let's get into the tea. It has a nice floral scent. It's also been compared to muscatel, which is a type of wine, well, a type of grape that's used to make wine. It does have a nice rounded flavor. It's not the typical bitterness you think of with a black tea. It's smoother, and it is kind of fruity. I haven't had a good Darjeeling tea in a long time. I think Darjeeling was one of the ones I would get when I was getting Twinings tea. My ex-husband got me into Twinings tea, which I do miss, and I should start buying that again at some point. But I veered off into the wonderful world of goth, spooky, and steampunk type teas, which are wonderful in and of themselves. But to be a well rounded individual, I should probably go back to some of the other teas as well. Being goth on a budget, I do what I can afford, and things like this, when I buy them myself, are my splurge. Yes, I've never had this brand of tea until I received this in the mail, and I'm going to have to say I like this brand so far. I would put it up there with Twinings. It is definitely a hit. Like I said, it's not bitter. It is slightly astringent, but that's black tea is going to do that a bit. But it's not as harsh. As I said, it's a floral, kind of fruity, smooth tea. And I did have some banana for breakfast, so that kind of complements the flavor of the tea as well. So it goes well with bananas. Definitely a nice cup hot a nice hot cup of tea. I can talk, honestly. Hits me just right with this time of year. This time of year, with cold and flu season coming and weather being hot and cold, I bounce between catching a cold and having seasonal allergies. So this, as I said, this hits just right. Nice, warming, soothing cup of tea. And speaking of tea, do I have any tea to spill? Um, Someone suggested I try to get another job working for a name brand cable and internet company in customer service, but I'm going to hold off on looking into that for just a bit. Because, well, when you're looking for a job, and if you get said job, there's the juggling act of still being paid where you're at and waiting for the next paycheck from the new job. And when you're when you're an older adult, well, when you're an adult in general, and you're living on your own, you have to consider being able to pay your bills on time. So you don't want a pay gap to where you got the paycheck from the one job and then you don't have money from the second job because it takes longer to catch up pay wise on a new job because you're not on an even footing with everybody else. So the first check that the people that have been there get every month is going to be bigger than yours. So you have to make sure that you're not diving off the deep end and just balance it just as close to perfect as possible because nothing is perfect. But you have to balance it so that, like I said, you have the last check from your previous job and then the tiny little check that's from the new job until you get a full paycheck to where you can still live or at least live just well enough to get by and not be hurting. So that's something I have to think about. And also, my main priority, one of the main priorities, besides being with family and having a security net, which is full of holes presently, but we've already discussed that crazy situation, was to get a house. And since I cannot afford said house, due to all the upfront money you have to come up with, even though you can't afford to, oh, that's another discussion for another day. This is not an economics class, and I'm not qualified to discuss such things in depth. So, anyway, I'm going to be looking, as you know, for an apartment vice a house. So, I want to be able to get into an affordable apartment, and then I will consider getting another job. Because yes, I could make more money, but I don't want to be trapped in something slightly larger than an efficiency apartment where all the lovely stuff, well, not all the lovely stuff, all of the lovely stuff I could bring with me. I need to be able to bring that back out and redecorate our into an abode that we can play with and decorate to be comfortable. So, first priority, getting an apartment. That being said, I need to call another apartment complex to make an appointment, hopefully for next week. And hopefully, if they've got something, I can move sooner rather than later. The other one I was talking about, the casket company, it comes with its own, it's got several skeletons in its closet, which may or may not be good. So I'm going to set that aside and focus on maybe being able to get a 2-bedroom apartment for under $700 by a $700 1-bedroom apartment with a washer and dryer. So it's kind of a balancing act again. But this other place will have more space for us to spread out and decorate the way we want, and it does have a laundry area, but it's downstairs, and that's okay. That's what I'm used to. The one washer, one dryer in the hall, and having to share with um, 7 other apartments, some of which have kids. So, and waiting to do laundry and hoping the thing works. At least it'll be in the building, and I can just go to the first floor. So, fingers and claws crossed that I get one of those two because those are the two contenders. Well, the second one is not an official contender yet because I need to fill out an application and give them a security deposit. So that's where we're at. I am, long story short, the tea, this Darjeeling First Flush Black Tea, the Darjeeling Premium, excuse me, is a wonderful, fruity, floral, sweet, well-rounded cup of tea. And if you can find Vahdam, I don't know, I'm pronouncing it correctly. I don't know if, when I get excited, I talk fast. Vahdam, India tea. If you can find them, give them a try. I found another tea company while I was perusing for information about Darjeeling tea, which is Tea Forte. My squirrel brain will probably forget Tea Forte, but I'm mentioning it here in this video, so if I look at the video, which I will at some point, it's a reminder to myself, kind of like a bootstrap paradox. I mention it to you and to myself, so I will remember to possibly buy tea from that company and to this one as well. Okay. Anyway, so there's that, and I am looking for a loft apartment in my range, and hopefully that will happen soon because I do still have to give 2 months notice. So there's that. Okay, and that being taken care, once that's taken care of, I am going to see if I can apply for said cable company as a person sitting on the phone talking to people. My customer, I'll just say Kay because I don't want to mention her name. She's the same one that referred me to the mortgage lender I had, and I believe she works there. So I've got to think about it. I don't want to embarrass her and make her regret that decision. After all, if I get the job, she'll have me as a coworker. All right, enough. If you like these crazy freaking videos, give them a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, hit the bell once. And if you can't seem to get enough of this insanity, hit the bell a second time, and you will be notified as to when I upload all of my random videos, which, as you know if you're a long-time subscriber or viewer, goth on a budget, goth on a budget, including clothes from, name brand small businesses, can be used as goth. I need to get back into that, etc., etc. Plus, interesting and unusual snacks, alcohol, teas, coffees, a lot of which will have a spooky or pop culture reference. And I want to try to get back into some steampunk as well. And this is a nice into that, along with tea punk teas, which I need to order some more of as well. So, yes, we're just geeky goth on a budget with a touch of steam goth. Okay, so if you like all that, that's what you need to do. Share these also if you want. If you want to inflict some misery on somebody, or if you just want to make them laugh, feel free to share these. Always feel free to comment, but let's keep it friendly. And I'm not going to go into the goth mom scolding because it's the holiday season, and I'm going to not do that. Okay, but as always, since this is also an alcohol channel, I'm going to remind my monsters to don't drag and drive. Drag responsibly, and if the designated Dracula wants to imbibe, give them a chance, let them have a turn. And vampires, please remember your large parasols or umbrellas and your 100 SPF or 100 plus if such a thing exists, so that you do not turn into ash. Because I would like to see all of you safe and sound when we have the next video, which will be tomorrow for day 4 of our Gothmas / Teamas. I love you guys. Bye now.